faith
of
that
the
we're
heart.
live.
I gotta.
Going where my heart will take me. Hopefully Willard comes back.
I like that
So,
John is wearing Enterprise blue.
It's nice.
am I? Okay, so, so by sheer coincidence,
Whoa! Hello!
Wow, hello.
ab-
Beefcake!
absolute coincidence. I just have this is my undershirt today.
Oh, was that Target or Walmart? I bought like 3 of them one time.
It's probably
I think it
Target.
was when 2009 movie came out.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
It was probably Target. I'm much more likely to make a impromptu T-shirt purchase at Target than
Target's got
Walmart.
better shirts, but I've outgrown Target, so I have to shop at Walmart. I've literally outgrown Target
Oh.
sizes.
I was like, maturity wise, or
No,
Never
no.
maturity wise.
I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
Yes, apparently we're now
Oh.
live on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube.
On
How do we
YouTube's.
check Twitch?
I don't know, man. You installed all this stuff.
I did. That's a third browser Google account.
I can barely get split screen on my little laptop.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave all that to you.
Yeah. We're about ready to go live. For real live.
There's Riverside. Willard says we're on Riverside.
Woo! Okay, we're getting this. This will be our permanent live link, fellas.
I had lunch and then I was full and I didn't eat dinner and now I'm getting hungry because it's 11:30 and I'm still awake.
All right, logging in so it knows who we are and who we follow.
If you walk away, I'll
And
walk
then-
away. Now we can't monetize this.
Oh,
We'll
we'll
follow.
monetize the other one. Okay, we're live on Twitch.
Hi, Twitch.
Hola, Twitch.
Hola, ¿cómo se dice? Que esta
Twitch.
una suave queso, por favor.
I'm yo soy caballero misterioso.
Yo soy marinero, soy capitán.
Yo soy
I'm the captain
soy
now.
queso.
I want some. Yeah, you are. All right. Okay. Now, what are we talking about? Okay, I got it.
Oh, I gotta get the rundown up. Rundown time.
Okay. Let me know when everybody's ready, then I'll take a beat.
Rundown time. Okay.
Okay. Hello, Trek Explorers, and welcome back to Trek Exploration. I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
I'm John.
Today, we have the most beautiful John in the world. John Irons, Captain Game Show, joining us for this episode. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. This has been a hope of mine for a long time, so I'm glad you're finally on.
Yeah, I am. I am definitely a fan of Star Trek and of TNG, but unlike many of my companions on the Infinite Potato Network, I have not watched the series in a long time. A lot of it since it's aired originally. So, it's good. So me watching an episode for you guys is basically like me watching it fresh.
Oh, and you had to watch maybe not the best episode. Depends on how you feel about it. But thank you for doing it for us. How are you doing, Chris? It's been days since I saw you. We filmed that game show we did.
Yeah, we did our game show. I was a martini in on that one, so I hope it came out okay. It seemed
3 or
like we had-
4. I'm
seemed
still
like we
editing
had
it.
We're still having a good time. 3 or 4, no, I wasn't that bad.
I don't know. I don't think you were conscious towards the end, but it makes it funner. More fun?
I only had the one.
Entertain.
I don't know why you're laughing. I only had the one.
Okay.
During the show.
We'll let our crew decide on that once they see that show. That's a great
Maybe
one.
don't air that show. Maybe we don't.
No, I'll edit it nice. That's why it's taking a little bit. But
Is it weird that I just heard that you guys did a game show and I'm a little jealous that I wasn't a part of it?
do you like game shows, Captain Game Show?
A little bit.
It was basically me, Serenity, and Chris doing Star Trek Jeopardy-ish.
Apparently, drunken Star Trek Jeopardy-ish,
A little bit.
like drunken history.
Drunken history, exactly. Same thing. Yeah, I think he ended up yelling at Romulans. I forget. I don't
Oh,
know.
those damn Romulans! They have it coming. To them.
They're so tricky.
But that's one of our and more things that we do. We and more
I
because
will never watch it. Is what that is.
on the Patreon we got to go and more. So because we got to do more. So that's one of our and more. So that's about 2 hours of us trying to answer Star Trek trivia. So that was
Okay,
kinda
cool.
fun.
So that's a Patreon exclusive. That means very few people will see me make a fool of myself. That's an
Exactly.
incentive. That's an incentive for everybody to go to patreon.com/Trexploration to see me in rare form.
Yep.
Apparently.
Should be up soon. Soon. Maybe tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Depends when this comes out.
Well,
We're
30 minutes,
live.
30
still
minutes
live.
tonight will be tomorrow. So yes,
But when will then be now?
soon.
Soon. Today we are talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 16, Too Short a Season. Let's go with John first. First impressions, John.
It, there were aspects of it that I was surprised at that I thought worked well. Overall, I thought it was fine. It's about the level of quality that I would expect if I'm thinking about season one of Star Trek: The Next Generation. A show from the late '80s, a sci-fi show from the late '80s. Uh, the level of acting, the level of special effects, all of that was about what I was. I think I set my bar accordingly, and I can't say I was disappointed. I was more pleasantly surprised than not.
I got to ask, since you're like a newcomer, it's been a while for you to watch those episodes of Star Trek. What was the surprise ending a surprise at all, or the surprise middle a surprise at all?
What that
He was going to
Spoiler.
turn younger?
that he was getting younger.
Yes.
I mean I don't think it was a surprise, but I will say that they paced it well, because like they kind of show him starting to de-age at 10, 15 minutes in. So by the time you're at the 20, because like he was like rapidly de-aging, and I was like, okay, how much time is left in this? And they're only like 20 minutes, so like I'm like, okay, they're pacing it pretty well. So
Great.
no, it wasn't a surprise at all, but I think that they did it. I think they paced it out well.
All right. Chris, first impressions of Too Short a Season.
You know how Next Gen has a reputation for being really bad in its first season?
Yes.
I've found that actually that's quite the contrary. I think that it's been pretty solid so far, but I think this is the type of episode that makes people think that Next Gen was just nothing but garbage in its first season, for many, many, many reasons. Not least of all is some memorable special effects. So, yeah, I don't know that there's a huge amount to talk to here, but I'm sure we'll find a lot. How about you, Albie? What did you think? What's your first impression?
This is my out of 7 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is the only one I dread and I actively dislike. It's my least favorite episode. I normally don't have a least favorite episode. I usually have favorite episodes and the ones I don't like so much on things. Unless we're talking about disco, then it's the opposite. But this one, it just makes me mad because it's like set up like it's a mystery or a surprise what's going to happen. And in the first scene, you have this 19-year-old guy in 212-year-old makeup.
Yeah,
Acting like this, and later on we find out he's 80, and 80 people are in like medication commercials jogging and stuff, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but maybe it's a disease. But
yeah.
it's like, and it's not like a one-time Twilight Zone reveal. They keep doing a surprise reveal that he's getting younger over and over again. When before the opening credits play, this is a young guy in old makeup. So it just pisses me off. Okay, it pisses me off.
It's clearly
That's
not
where
a
I'm
young
at.
guy in all makeup, but I didn't even think that they were trying to trick me with that. I mean, I guess they were, but I would I'll okay. So now that you mention it, I did keep thinking they could have just gotten an older actor who looks like him.
Absolutely.
He's
Absolutely.
a pretty standard looking guy. They could have just gotten an actor whose age is closer to what the wife's age was, and then just had him
Especially
his age
I
back.
think that's
But
budget.
that's
Budget.
yeah, that's not how they did it. That was not how
budget.
they did it back then.
They had to spend ten
It's still
thousand
not
dollars
now.
on that wheelchair. So,
Yeah, $10,000 on the wheelchair, but we'll
Yeah.
get there.
so.
Before we
Was
talk
there a
more
ramp
about that,
off of the teleporter? I noticed it because he so he appeared like they beamed on he beamed onto the ship and he's on the little teleporter pad
Transporter pad.
transporter pad. What's a teleporter? When they shoot the pew pews, the pew pew gun,
pew pew.
the pew pews, and he tapped the start thingy, tapped the start thingy.
So he beamed on the transporter,
Yeah, in the wheelchair,
and
and I was
then
like,
somehow he got off, and there's no ramp. I never
they didn't.
noticed that.
I didn't. I was like, okay, so I'm like, okay, is this a Professor X type device that's got like a hover thing,
I
or I mean, it was. I think it was like a small step. I think it's a small step, so I don't think it was necessarily.
A small step for an old man, and a
Yes,
giant leap for Starfleet kind.
sure.
Chris, before we go any deeper and further into this episode, can you give us that episode synopsis that you're so famous for?
Yeah, okay. So this is too short a season. Season 1, Episode 16 of Star Trek The Next Generation. Original air date February 8th, 1988. Story by Michael McCallion. Teleplay by Michael McCallion and Star Trek royalty DC Fontana. Directed by Rob Bowman. And I want to thank John for correcting one part of the synopsis. So,
You're welcome.
Thank you, John.
Although your response when I pointed out, I was like, I don't care.
yeah,
You're
I don't
telling
care.
me
Suck it, John.
DC Fontana was involved in this episode?
Oh yeah, that's something we can talk about. But let's get the synopsis
Okay.
under our belts. All
Thank
right,
you.
why prolong this agony? The Enterprise arrives at Persephone 5 to pick up Admiral Mark Jameson. A crisis has brought the long-retired and ailing admiral out of mothballs. A hostage situation on the planet Morden 4. Governor Karnas of Morden says insurgents have taken members of the Federation embassy there hostage and insists that Jameson negotiate their release, or the insurgents will start killing them. There's history here. 45 years prior, Jameson negotiated another hostage situation on Morden, securing a prisoner release just before the planet was plunged into a bloody civil war. Jameson beams abroad. Say that again. I spelled that wrong. Jameson beams aboard the Enterprise with his wife Anne, confined to a next-gen pike chair. He suffers from Iverson's disease and has lost all mobility. Or has he? The lingering mystery as to why Karnas has called on Jameson specifically to take it was so clever when I wrote it. The lingering mystery as to why Karnas has called on Jameson specifically takes a back seat to the fact that Jameson is somehow de-aging, rapidly becoming more spry and dreamy as the hours pass.
Dun dun dun.
Jameson admits that he went to the planet Cerebus 2 for a youth serum. He got enough for both him and Anne, meant to be taken in measured doses over time. But once the hostage crisis hit, he downed it all so he'd have enough stamina to face off with Karnas again. One problem? The youth treatment is unstable, and it's killing him even as he de-ages. But Jameson vows to complete the mission. He has to atone for his past sins. He admits to Picard that he didn't really negotiate the freedom of those hostages 45 years ago. He secured their release by giving Karnas the advanced weapons he wanted. Only he didn't stop there. Jameson also gave the same weapons to the opposite faction on the planet. Another snake for the Garden of... my TOS reference. Another snake for the Garden of Eden that sparked a decades-long war on Morden 4. Karnas engineered the hostage situation to flush Jameson out. One more time. It's going to be great, the edit. Karnas engineered the hostage situation to flush Jameson out and exact revenge. But Jameson is so far gone that he dies in agony at Karnas's feet. Picard and Riker have the mandatory epilogue as to how the quest for youth is futile, and the Enterprise flies off to its next mission. A little older and, it is hoped, a little wiser. Somewhere, Tyree weeps. This time, for the last time, we hope, on Star Trek The Next Generation. I had more fun writing that synopsis than I did watching the episode.
Yeah. It sucks because I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek Next Generation, but all I can think of is I got a lot of problems with this episode.
I got all problems with you people.
Yep.
George is getting upset.
Exactly. John, I have one important question for
Okay.
you. What is Twitch? We're on Twitch.
What is Twitch?
Yeah, you know you're young. You know youth things, right?
I'm not as young as you think I am.
Well, you
I
must
just
have
had
took some of that too
I,
short a season stuff.
I just had a birthday,
Happy
and
birthday.
thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
It was late October, and I'm not going to say exactly what my age is, but I will say that it is one more than it was last year.
That is a reveal exclusive right here on Trek Exploration.
Does it
Right,
work
right.
like that for everybody? Or? I think you're special.
It depends where you live. Time zones. Time zones.
I guess. I guess.
Where do we begin?
I didn't hate this as much as you guys seem to have.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's because I'm like, I don't know. There's lots of reasons. Like it could be that I'm not as discerning. It could be that because I don't consider myself as deep a Trek fan. I don't have the inherent baggage of like everybody hates this episode, so I know it's the one like it may be that because I haven't seen it in a while. I'm just like I'm super graded on a curve. I didn't think of the. I was honestly surprised that the de aging thing wasn't like the whole plot. Were you like it took a backseat to the de aging story. I mean, I guess it kind of did, but I was expecting a lot of episodes like that would be the whole story, and then the hostage thing would be kind of like this almost a B plot. But I kind of saw it the other way. Like most of it was the hostage thing, and by the way, he's de-aging. It was almost like parallel stories
Yeah.
until the end or until it became relevant.
That is interesting because I felt the opposite. I felt like this is one of the few episodes that didn't have a B story. Like it seemed like all one story to me, and I didn't like it. Usually, if there's an A and a B, and I like one of them at least. Chris,
Well, before we get to the C, see, because I'm Chris, the C. You said A, you said B. Okay.
See,
Before we start
C.
radically de-aging, let's tell our members how they can reach
Chris
out
is
to
keeping us
us.
on track.
Yeah, we just got
I'm
to let
glad you're
people
here.
know. I mean, you can if you're watching live now, you can comment on Twitch or I guess YouTube or
And
Riverside.
YouTube and Riverside, and we get all of them right here.
And you can also find us. Our main hub of discussion will always be at patreon.com/Trexploration. That's where we also have bonus videos like us playing Star Trek trivia games. And you can go there and join for free. You don't have to support us financially, although that would be nice. You can also find us on Instagram at instagram.com at Trexploration Pod. You can get us on Twitter or X at Trexploration. You can email us, trexplorationpod@gmail.com. You can get us on the phone at 707-847-6682. You can get us in our post office box. Put something in that box for me. P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. You can do a one-time donation if you're so inclined at buymeacoffee.com/Trexploration. And for some reason, Albie wrote down in 3D exclamation point select episodes. I guess we have select episodes on YouTube in 3D. Have you been
Yes.
like rendering like White Christmas and the Honeymooners into 3D and posting
I
them?
just started the Honeymooners, the Blu-ray. I got the Blu-ray and I ripped the Blu-ray, and now I'm doing them in 3D because me and Rennie love to watch the Honeymooners. And the first episode is TV or not TV, and I think one of the jokes is Ralph is waiting for 3D television. So I was like, that's great. Let's do that and watch it in 3D on the new screen, you know?
Gotcha. All
cool.
right. So that's something you can find on our YouTube channel, on Albie's YouTube channel. Where are you putting all this stuff?
It's on Trek Exploration on YouTube, but they're listed under the 3D playlist.
Gotcha.
I think next one's going up is probably going to be the one with Allison we had on.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's just that makes us the world's best video Star Trek podcast in 3D because there's enough qualifiers there.
Cool. I love it. Well, speaking of one-time donations,
Oh my goodness!
we have a new patron. who made a very generous donation. His name is Willard, and he's also saying he ordered something for the PO box today. So
Oh wow.
Willard, we really want to thank you for the generous vote of support here for Trek Exploration. Albie, tell him what he's won.
You've won a lifetime membership to Trek Exploration. You are in the Q level. You are the omnipotent Willard, and you will be referred to as such in every upcoming episode. We really appreciate it. It's going to help us out. We're getting our server together. We should have our website any day now. It's looking spiffy. And just thank you so much. And if anybody's interested in becoming a Q level member, message us and we'll give you details. But thank you so much, Willard. Unexpected and very much appreciated. It's going to let us keep going for a while now.
Yeah, yeah, we're
So
doing.
what you're saying is it'll let you continue them.
Yeah, we'll continue them. Thank you. He's a Q continuum level.
Thank you, John, for taking the pressure off. I can just sit back and coast.
Yeah, I'm just watching John, so I might get distracted. So
Gotcha. Well, thank you again to the omnipotent Willard. We also want to thank our existing crew of intrepid Trek explorers, our cadet, Listen Linda, our lieutenant commanders, Scott Seligman and Cosplay Dad, and our captain, the esteemed Captain Charles.
Captain
from
Charles?
Texas.
Charles.
So thank you all, one and all, for your support, and for the people who are on Patreon as well, who are just following for free and just having a good time with us over there. So
yeah, it's a great place to follow us. Even the free level, you get all the announcements of when we're going to be live and what's upcoming, and things to watch.
right? So, we do have some feedback. I don't know if I read this, but I don't feel like I did. It's a couple of weeks old, but I think it just popped up as far as I can tell. It was in response to our Second Contact review that we did with Allison. You said that you were going to put that in 3D.
Yeah, 3D.
So, 3D Allison Pregler. Can't
Uh-huh.
wait to see it. This is by a respondent called Dano Hung. Okay. Season 1, this is, and I guess it's referring to Lower Decks.
Right.
Season 1, they were clearly having a little trouble finding the characters. I did a rewatch and saw what they were going for a lot more clearly. In the course of the overall series character development, I think it actually works well, but you can't know that going in, of course. Once they get a better Boimler dynamic, once they get a better Mariner Boimler, I can say that, better Mariner Boimler, no, I can't say. Once they get a better Mariner Boimler dynamic, I think it all really gels. And yeah, I would have to, I guess, do a rewatch of Lower Decks from season 1 to see if I agree with that, because Dano, right now, I'm sort of still on the other side of the fence of you there. What do you guys think of that? Again, I haven't seen it in so long. I can't really speak to the.
Lower Decks, John.
I've found that to be the case. Like I did my brother hadn't seen any of them, and like I was visiting, I think this summer, and I was like, oh, you haven't, it's a huge Star Trek fan. Oh, you haven't seen Lower Decks? Like, yeah, I just hadn't get around to it. Okay, it's really good. Let's watch it. And rewatching, instead of like waiting week to week and season to season, watching them all back to back, it flows a lot better. Like because it's a much clearer progression of the character development. At least that was my experience. It was much more enjoyable because I'm like, I remember her being way more annoying for way longer. I'm not naming any names. I'm just saying.
Beckett Mariner?
I felt like she was being way more annoying than Locke.
Becky Freeman?
But when you watch them all back to back, it's really not that bad. Or at least I didn't think so.
Maybe that's why I have a better feeling about it, because I rewatched them I don't know how many times. It's just like binge seasons at a time. So maybe I'm looking back with rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember the first time watching it being very like hype about it and impressed with it. But I did like it better going back. So yeah.
Yeah.
And we know that I'm in the minority when it comes to that opinion. So we converted another person to Lower Decks. Listen, Linda, our patron, Listen, Linda.
Yay!
She writes, "Hey guys, I finally finished seasons 1 through 4.
Wow.
I'm ready to discuss LDS with you live. I
All
also
right.
watched the Strange New World crossover episode. I get it.
She gets it now.
She gets it now, right?
That would have been a weird one to not like have
What?
seen Lower Decks and then watch that. Like, what's going on? Why is his hair almost purple?
Oh, so
Yeah.
she watched the. What is it that she hits?
Strange New Worlds with the crossover, the Lower Decks.
Right. So she watched Strange New Worlds, seeing the crossover, not having seen any
Not having
lower
seen any
decks,
lower decks. Got it.
apparently. So, but now I guess she gets it's much more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a yeah.
IRL Tawny
And
Newsome. She's pretty.
yeah,
Funny. Smart. All the good things.
all the good things.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So she was our first video call in. And then we got an
Yeah.
audio call in. So call ins are open, guys, towards the end of this show. If you're feeling froggy, we'll be around. All right. So, main discussion part. I'm going to let you guys go. And hopefully, like you say something that inspires me to speak about something. Because as far as I know, it's just don't look at his makeup. And then we're going to surprise you in a little bit. It's like one of those magic tricks you get from like a 4-year-old kid when they're like, close your eyes. And then you open your eyes and they're like, ta-da! Okay. So what do you guys think of Too Short a Season?
Close your eyes.
Listen, Linda says, I loved Boimler running, right?
She means live action Jack Quaid running like Boimler.
Yeah,
and
Jack
believing.
Quaid.
Yeah.
The boys.
The boys. You know what? We have to talk about the makeup. We have to talk about what I consider one of the most egregious things in season one, the costume design. Those Admiral uniforms, they make no sense to me. They just look like a hodgepodge of like weird triangles, and it gets even worse. You'd think that they would refine it as they go on, but it seems like I don't know if it looks good on paper, and then they put it in real life, and they just don't have money to redo it. But this is the first of many egregious upper ranking uniforms that I think we see, especially in seasons 1 and 2 of Next Gen before they codified the look a little bit more. Did that take you guys? Because it takes me out of it every time I watch.
It didn't. The Admiral uniforms didn't bother me so much as the troops in the tunnels that were like reflective blue. I'm like, what kind of camouflage is
Yeah, it's like
The
blue uniforms
reflective
with
blue
some black
jumpsuits.
tie-dye in there.
Yeah, I'm like, they would have done better to whatever. I mean, is that like the official uniform of your state? Reflective
Maybe.
blue jumpsuits.
It
Maybe
looked like
they're
it was some like discount camo or something.
It was like extras off of a Devo video.
Something. Maybe their deserts are blue. You don't
That's what
know.
I'm saying. Yeah, they
Maybe.
could have reflective blue sand deserts on that planet.
I
It's like
guess.
cobalt, right? So,
Yeah, it's possible.
It's
cobalt.
possible.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have a lot of skirmishes with Andorians and or Bolians, and they have to go incognito on their
Blend
planet.
in.
Made me think a little bit of Stargate SG-1 because they have some blue uniforms on there, and it's like, where are those camouflage? I don't know.
Yeah,
The
well,
BDUs.
yeah, that's true.
But the uniforms, that's one thing I think they did right, which is, like when they're trying to age someone up and make them look older and more feeble, they'll give them a shirt that's tailored but bigger, so they look more emaciated in it, or so it makes them look older. So they did that good. But where they cheaped out is I don't think they wanted to make a second Admiral's uniform for the actor who played Mark Jamison. I'm not sure his name. But
It's on the rundown. Way
on
down
the rundown.
below. Just scroll down.
okay. Dave. His name's Dave.
Under Albie's notes.
I got notes. Oh yeah, it just says blah.
His name was Clayton Roner.
Thank you, Clayton Roner. So they didn't do that, but what they ended up doing was like putting padding underneath him to fill out the uniform as he got younger, which I thought was strange. You would think that would cost more than just making two shirts, one bigger, one
I
smaller.
don't know. It didn't look like that to me. I guess maybe you watched it in a little bit more higher depth than I did. I don't know.
A little bit,
I definitely watched it on my phone.
And I one of my hobbies is being a seamstress. So
I think I think his physicality was not bad. Like he like obviously the makeup was not hidden, but like when he played older, like the way he moved was older. Like he's got some training.
I think I'm agreeing with Chris just by his sound effects he's making. What do you think, Chris?
what distracts me so much is he's
The
not
voice was
playing.
not great, but
He's
I feel
the
like
voice
his
isn't
body was
great, but
the
I
body was
feel
good.
like he's not playing older. He's playing all of the stereotypical affects of older when it comes
Yes.
to theatricality. And I can't believe that sentence just came out of my face. But there it is. Seriously, what is it with when someone's playing older? It's like they have the imaginary lozenge.
Yep.
And they're always pursing their lips and like jutting out their chin in weird I can't even do it. Like, but
Yeah.
he's doing that a
Well,
lot.
see, but you already like you're just not supposed to look from the neck up. We've already established that. I'm talking hands. I'm talking back.
I I think it was too big. I think he went too big. I think maybe he's theater trained, and maybe in the theater to play older, you have exaggerated motion, but this camera was right on him. So
I
I
think,
think it was too big.
but I think that's Star Trek act, or at least I mean
Yeah,
now it's
usually
more subtle. But like
theatrical. Yeah.
COS acting, that's like how they do everything. Everything is very Shakespearean.
Do you
So
think?
Yeah.
I was looking at it that way.
And I'm looking through it through a modern huge screen versus a small little tube across the room. So maybe I'm judging it.
Or phone this big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can make a lot of excuses for why they made those choices, especially if you think about the way it would have been viewed back then. Maybe it would not have been so glaringly obvious. It would have just come across a little more subtle. But I also think that does a disservice to people watching TV at the time. I like to think that had I seen that at the time, I would have freaking noticed. So,
Yeah.
regardless of a little bit less resolution, and I can't imagine that everybody noticed because that's the thing about this episode that got most panned when it was first released. Even the director didn't like the makeup or the way that it eventually came out.
Well, you
So,
can tell that because just the way they light him as he's
He's in the
de-aging,
dark half the time.
yeah, this is the darkest episode of Next Gen, I think, out of the series run. And he's just a silhouette. And the music builds up, builds up. Oh my goodness, he's younger. Again, again, again. Surprise.
Okay, you know what? Now that you put it, like I do see what you're talking about. That's fine. But okay, so but in my head canon, the reason that he was in shadow most of the time was because he was having the video conference with the admiral, with the general, the governor.
Yeah,
So he had to be surprised at the end that he was younger. So he didn't see it. So he kept him. So when they were talking, he was in the dark so that he wouldn't see him getting younger. That
Karnas, Michael Pataki.
yeah.
Karnas, Michael Pataki, who also played a Klingon in The Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh, wow.
I thought he looked familiar. I thought that he did.
Yeah, he's the
Oh,
one
my
that called the
goodness.
Enterprise a garbage scow.
I know both their faces, and you just connected them for me. That's crazy when that happens.
Yeah, and so once I didn't know that the first time I saw this. I just found out today when I was just looking like random tidbits that we could talk about because there's not a lot in the episode. And DC actually came in and rewrote a lot of this, and she made it different as far as the terrorist thing and the what's it the planet 4. I wrote the thing I don't even remember.
Talos.
Tell us 4, yeah.
The planet that they're on, the
Yeah,
planet like
the terrorist planet. Anyway,
it's
the Civil War planet.
Cerebrus.
No, Cerberus 2 is the youth planet.
This is SETI Alpha 5.
They flew to Persephone 5, and then they went to
Right.
then they went to Karnak 4. Oh no,
Soul
it's
3. They originated in Soul 3.
Right.
anyway. But Dorothy actually kind of rejiggered some of that to make it a little more front and center. I kept I kept reading something.
Sorry,
on,
that's funny. I did that on our live stream a couple days ago. But I was reading it and I read it wrong.
Right. I was going to say it in past tense. I said it in anyway, present participle.
You're so
That
smart.
the original concept for the script from the guy Michael whatever his name is, the
Yeah.
writer, story by, was that this was going to be about male menopause or something like that. I don't understand how that tracks.
Menopause,
And,
yeah.
and then also at the end, the de-aging was going to progress so far that by the time he's, parlaying with
Karnak,
he's
the
he's
Magnificent.
like 14 years old.
That's where I thought it was going.
Right. And the
That's what I
thing
thought was
was,
going to
so he
happen.
was going to be 14 years old and have no memory of his wife. How can he be
Oh,
14 years old and still negotiating with a guy he knew 45 years ago, but not have any memory of the woman he's been with for the last 50? I don't
I didn't.
know.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think that he was going to. Well, yeah, I thought that he was going to keep de aging. I thought that he was going to be like, yeah,
Benjamin
like
Button.
yeah, well, Benjamin Button or what is it, Rascals? Where the kids
Oh
get
yeah,
it.
yeah, Rascals.
I thought he'd be like young Picard looking,
That's a great one.
and trying to negotiate. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I thought, and that the wife was eventually going to like they would find a way to stop the aging process, but he'd be like a child, and that she'd have to raise him again. That was the story I wrote in my head.
Gotcha.
We have some comments. Of course, Lisa Lynn just said, I love Boredom and Running. We read that. And she said, I guess they used all their makeup budget on Worf and Data. Okay. Willard says, oh, the omnipotent Willard says, old makeup pre 2000s looked way older than real life. Look at how old Picard looked in All Great Things compared to how Patrick Stewart looks now. Yeah.
Very true.
And maybe
Yeah.
that could be a reason why, they wanted to pop a bit more on the screen to say, look, get it? They're old. So I guess, yeah, there's something to be said about that. Old age makeup has always been pretty dicey. I think that it was done best and like screamingly bad, but amazingly good in Quantum Leap when Scott Bakula played his own father.
Bum,
I think
bum,
guy's supposed
bum.
to be like 43 years old. He looks like he's 86. you know,
Age
so
was different back then too. Like
That's true.
old people in 1989, 88-year-old people did look 200, some of them, because of all the smoking and the drinking and
yeah,
going to war a couple times or whatever they did back then, lead, asbestos.
it's funny. Yeah, I was just spamming our Infant Potato Chat on the night that we did the game show, Albie,
Mhm.
because I was watching The Odd Couple. That's why I had a martini. It's like I love that movie, and I have a martini and I watch it, and I get jealous of Oscar's apartment. But
Made for great
Walter
content.
Matthau was probably 42 in that movie. He
But
looks
he
like
looks
he's
in his
he looks
80s.
like he's 10 years older than I am right now.
Yeah.
Everybody looks older somehow in 70s movies. I don't know if it's the
Cigarettes.
haircuts. I don't know
It's
what it
cigarettes.
is, but
Cigarettes and clothing, I think.
just the shine. They just like powder them down a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
It's they're mostly nicotine. That's what it is. And tar. It's death becomes her, but everybody was doing it. So
So
I don't
maybe
know.
they were still sort of transitioning out of that mindset. No, That's 80. It's
Mhm.
almost the 90s though. I don't know. I
No,
don't
they
know.
definitely still were.
I think we just look
Like that
old.
was the norm.
We
That was
look better
standard.
now somehow.
Yeah.
I have to say, Michael Westmore hits it out of the park 98% of the time. I think this is the one time that he glaringly falls down with the old age makeup. But it just wasn't there at the time. Like, if you look at all old age makeup around that time, like Willard said, pretty bad. Like, they hadn't nailed it yet. Now, with the translucent silicone and different things they can do, it works better. But back then, it just didn't work. But they
Yeah.
based a whole episode. They hung a whole episode on the reveal of it, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, you might not know this, but Alec Guinness was like 35 in A New Hope. I'm just made that up.
Oh,
It's believable though.
I think he was in his 50s. I think he was like early 50s.
So,
But I
so
just made
anyway,
that
yeah,
up too.
I mean, I guess the makeup is what it is. Here's the thing though. Usually, especially like with Toss, like you can watch these things and see the awful special effects because they're so dated, especially before the remaster.
Mhm.
And just like the cheap costumes and the cardboard sets with yarn and string as computer wires and stuff. But the stories always transcend that. So
Mhm.
your suspension of disbelief is like way up here because you're just so engaged in the performances and the story and what they're trying to tell. Here you can't get past the makeup because there's nothing else to distract you from just how bad it is because the stories that they're telling are not very compelling either. I mean, if I had to pick one part of this that I actually really enjoyed, it was Anne's reaction.
I was
Mm.
gonna
And
say that.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that because that's when it started to get to me to be a little bit more Star Trek. And John, just like you, I thought at first that this whole thing was going to be about the hubris of the de-aging, which is a very sort of Star Trek message. Star Trek is all over the map when it comes to this stuff, but
Mhm.
yeah, it struck me very much like a TOS parable. That, and I thought that's where we were going to go with this, and it didn't really get. Even that wasn't hammered home that much here. It wasn't like a big moral dilemma. He just reveals it, and then you're like, "Whoa, you did that, huh?"
I agree with you. I thought that that's where it was going. I thought that it would be more like kind of the be careful what you wish for thing. The like life is a gift and you should enjoy the time. Blah 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 blah. And they had a discussion about it, but that was pretty much the end of that discussion. Like after the scene in the quarters between the husband and wife, that was pretty much it. And then I thought, okay, well, all right, so now the lesson, the moral to the story is going to be about revenge and how he's been blaming this one man for the war for 40 years. But as Picard points out, okay, well, he did his thing 40 something years ago. You've been continuing this for ever since. You could have done something, and it's about learning from your mistakes or forgiveness or any of that. And then that no, not really. He's just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit there and watch you die. Ha 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 ha. And then after he dies, this actually kind of I don't think pissed me off, but like I was like, what the stuff? It's like
Thank you.
after he died, you're welcome. After he died, he was like, it said something that was like, Godspeed, we can now both rest. I'm like, he could have rested. He was resting.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he
You
was.
didn't earn like you. No, what are you coming in, Johnny? Come lately, throwing rice behind the or whatever. Like, no, you
That
could have just kept that. Like, why? Like, no, you don't
that
get to be on the let him go
We
train
can, yeah, yeah,
when you
and that's
watched
the
him
thing.
die.
He was already like dying in obscurity somewhere,
Yes,
and it's because this guy engineered this entire elaborate revenge plot, which is just ludicrous on the surface of it.
really could have just had him killed way more easily.
Yeah, or just watch, just have somebody point a camera as he dies of this incurable disease, as he just wastes away in this shell of a chair,
Yeah.
and
I
when no Talos 4 in sight.
it reminds me a lot of villains or antagonists. Then say there's somebody's out for revenge and they stab the guy and they're hugging them at the same time and giving them adulation as they're dying. So it gave me that kind of vibe. So it didn't really stand out to me.
Yeah. It's,
Almost like he was taking pleasure in the death and making it not wrong. I don't
well,
know.
no, right. I mean, I get like yes, but then
Yeah.
like right after he died, it's like he was like honoring him. He's like, we can both rest. Like, no, like just like you had your chance literally up until a second ago to forgive him or to turn a corner, and you wait until after he died. I'm like, what? No, it's useless to me now.
I
He
can
he had
understand.
he had no he had no. There should have been more of a difference in character if they're trying to do that.
I can understand Cardenas like fixating on one thing. Like this is more of like an extreme example, but like if that one thing didn't happen, then none of the rest of this stuff would have happened.
Yeah,
And sometimes when you're like stewing in your own thoughts for too long, you can like just fixate on one point and you have something to blame or some time to blame. So I can see that. But I think this whole episode just comes down to Admiral Jameson's just stupid. I mean, he took the medicine all at once, and not just all at once, both at once.
that was actually funny. I was like I was like out. I was like
That's what
in
killed him, right? Probably.
yeah yeah because I'm watching on the phone. I'm like, he's like, so you just drowned the whole thing. He's like, I took both of them.
Both of them.
I was like, people are
You doubled the
like,
dose you're supposed to take over a period of how many
Yeah,
months?
years
yeah.
maybe,
I
right?
was like, why would you take both
Yeah,
of them? That was just like no, that was
he's just an idiot.
ridiculous.
Well, he was gearing up for a fight. He had to be fight ready. He had to be
But
fight
he
ready.
didn't know. Like, I mean, I guess he did because he knew what he had done and he figured, like, okay, I'm gonna have to fight this guy. But like, what do you think of Picard's reaction to the admiral telling him what he did. He was very, I thought, kind of gracious about it. Like he did, there wasn't a lot of finger wagging. There wasn't a lot of like
There was no speech.
there was no speech.
And you're
Yeah.
waiting for it though. You're
Yeah.
because it's so quintessentially
Well,
Star Trek
I
because this points up like everything. Star Trek is always like, oh, the hubris of trying to be more than human or something like that. Meanwhile,
I get
Beverly can cure anything you have just by waving a magic light over you. So where's the line? Like, why is it okay to be healed in some ways but not heal aging?
I've got mixed. Well, I don't mean like the de aging thing. I mean uh okay, yeah, I know I was supposed to negotiate peace, but I actually just armed everybody.
Oh, that's another one that
You're
it
the
very,
complete
very
opposite of what you're supposed to
TOS,
do.
right? I think that Dorothy's voice shines through there, but in a much weaker way. I cannot remember the name of Tyrese Planet episode with the Mugato, but that's what I was referencing in the synopsis because it was the exact same thing. It was their episode that was supposed to be the allegory for the Vietnam War.
Hmm.
And at the end, Kirk arms both sides because the Klingons have come in and already kind of screwed up the balance of power. So Kirk gives Tyree's people rifles and teaches them how to shoot so that at least they have a fighting chance. But there's no good solution here, and Kirk is despondent about it. And this is almost like if Dorothy could have had her way, she maybe wanted to revisit this planet 20 years, 30 years, 100 years later to see what the hell happened and who's being held accountable.
I liked the reveal, like story wise. I liked, okay, I know I said I negotiated, but here's what actually happened. I thought that was like that was a twist that got me.
Which
I
one?
didn't that he, instead of negotiating peace, he just armed both sides
Okay.
as his interpretation of the Prime
Mhm.
Directive. I liked that. Maybe that's what it was. Like, there's the reveal of, actually I'm the one who held the hostages, and there's the reveal of, actually, I didn't negotiate it. I kicked off the war. So maybe because, like, I wasn't focusing on the de-aging as like anything that was trying to surprise me, because I felt like they had other little, um, they were dropping other little spoilers or other little surprises throughout.
It seems like there was like the beginnings of an idea about all that stuff, but it just didn't materialize for me. Are you guys good with history? Like at that time, when did this come out?
88,
88.
February of 88.
Was there things going on for like arms for hostages and stuff in the news or?
When was that? Iran Contra would have been
Iran
like the
Contra
mid
would have
'80s,
been
right?
that would have been in the 80s earlier.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
so it was
80,
still probably in
85,
the
86, maybe.
air, maybe, but I don't know if that connects with anything.
I mean, I guess it could have been somewhat of a
85.
of an influence. And when I'm sure everybody watching or watching this after the fact knows when I say Dorothy, I mean DC Fontana.
Yeah.
DC Fontana, her name is Dorothy Fontana. She was one of the writers for the original series.
Hmm.
She was Gene Roddenberry's go-to script editor, and she was very instrumental in shaping Star Trek and its messages and the longevity that it has now. So that's
Hmm.
another reason why I was so surprised to see that DC's name is on this, and it just seems to be a bunch of half-baked retread TOS kind of ideal parable episodes, like Rick likes to call them, allegory. Just the big idea and how we're dealing with it this week, and it's just like a Frankenstein's monster
Yeah,
of like the best of Trek, but not done well at all.
oh, like half ideas, like four half ideas that didn't make a whole.
Yeah. So I
I
mean
agree
that's
with
another
that.
thing, and the fact is DC probably came in and cleaned it up as much as he possibly could, but they got a
Wow,
deadline, they got to record, they got to get this thing into production.
I
So
wonder if there's a version before her
well,
to read.
there
There was.
was, yeah, that's what
I
it
wonder if it's
says
out there
in.
somewhere.
Yeah, who knows if Mike's original script is anywhere besides in his head at this point. Probably somewhere on a word processor from 1988. Who knows? Who knows? But
We got some comments. Let me do these here.
Oh wow.
We got something from Listen Linda, Cadet Listen Linda. Trying to get this right. Okay. I'm amazed on how they're doing the de-aging with digital imaging, making older actors look like they did in their 20s. Yeah, that's an actual thought I had while I was watching this. Maybe they can go back in and fix this episode with new
They would have to. They
technology.
would have to re-age him.
They could.
They'd have to start. They'd have to start from the last act.
some kind of
and then age him
AI,
up. Yeah,
like de-age him and then re-age him, but they might do it better.
maybe.
Maybe. What was it? I think it was the end of Rogue One with Princess Leia CG, and they
that's
spent
right.
these millions of dollars to make a CG Leia, and then a guy at home on his home computer did it better, like
Yeah.
a couple days after it came
Yeah,
out.
that was Luke Skywalker when they had him on the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, that
First
too.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did it
Yeah,
better.
I hadn't seen that,
Did it
but
way
you know
better.
where I'm reminded of the most recent one I saw was Dial of Destiny when they had Indy.
Oh yeah,
back
they
in,
did
back
good
in
on
the
that.
40s, and he looked fantastic until he opened his mouth and Harrison Ford's 75-year-old croak came out of his face. And it was, all right, that
they
kind
didn't
of
figure out the
shattered the
bit.
illusion.
Willard says Alec Guinness was 63 and 77.
No, Willard, I think you're wrong. He was 36, not 60. See, that's the joke.
That's a joke. Listen, Linda says
Tatooine's a rough town, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Ty,
Nothing
Ty-
but sun.
It's gonna sandblast the. It's gonna sandblast the youth right off your face.
Tyree was from the planet Neural. He was the leader of the Hill People. That's what we got
It's
from
gonna
Listen
drive me
Linda.
crazy now to know what the. Why am I forgetting the name of that damn episode? Anyway,
The omnipotent Willard says Iran Contra affair was 85 to 87.
so there you go. They're coming right off of it.
Yeah, so yeah, I think they were trying to do something, but you know how Gene always had that thing. What is the episode about? And then Rick Berman carried it forward. Okay, that's a cool story, but what is the episode about? I didn't get what this episode was about. It looks like John seemed to get more out of it than I did.
Well, no, I agree with you that it was, well, both of you, that it was kind of like the beginnings of 3 or 4 stories that were about something, and they kind of weaved them together, but like none of them really landed with and here's what we're trying to say about it.
Do you have any memory, Chris, from Mission Log or something? If they had found a message, moral, or meaning in this?
No, I try to actually blank out what I think the mission log guys might have said about it, so that I have an actual original thought. And with this one, not thank you, private little war. Listen, Linda. That was driving me crazy. But with
Yay,
this
our
one,
crew coming in handy.
I know I listened to their show after I watched this for the first time a few years ago, but for the life of me, I can't remember what they said about it, where they
Okay.
came down on it. Yeah. So, but I don't know that they're, if they have any messages, morals, or meanings here, they weren't very heavy-handed about it. They just alluded to the fact that, yeah, what Star Trek says about this. Do we have to? We'll just. It's a shorthand at this point.
I think if they had this as a B plot, or at least even an A plot, and there was an interesting B plot that I would have seen as 2 different plots, maybe some kind of character development in one of the bridge crew, maybe Data goes through something, or somebody else, or Geordi. But there was just nothing there for me.
So they should have renamed this one. They should have called it A Privater Little War. That's
What was
that's
the
what. Well, from henceforth, that's what this episode shall be
Privater Little
called.
War?
A Privater Little War.
Is too short a season like a line from a poem or something?
It sounds something Shakespearean,
Or
doesn't
a
it?
play, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
What was the
I didn't
original
even bother
series?
looking that up.
What was the original series episode where they got old?
The Corbinite maneuver.
No.
That's not it.
No,
Spectre. No, that's not it.
no. I'm trying to think. I've been trying to think. I can see the DVD cover.
The Deadly Years. I think it's
Yes,
the
Deadly Years.
Yeah.
They did better in the makeup with that, and I think it was just toilet paper and liquid raw latex. I remember reading, and they just put like liquid rubber on their face and put toilet paper on their face, and it looked even better. So I don't know. Just
Hey,
still
I can't
upsets
wait
me.
to rewatch that in Ultra HD. Actually, I did, and I probably fell asleep.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what else to say about this episode. I guess the Anne actress, to me, she was a little bit, I don't know. too theatrical or too rehearsed seeming.
There was a lot of kind of soap opera, like.
Soap opera that came into my
But
mind
again, like
too.
I kind of that's again, I haven't watched it in a while, so like that. So I'm and especially like the first season, the first two seasons, I'm watching it the way that I would watch like a TOS episode, and that's just kind of how it was. So
Mm.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I felt
I
like
like Picard. I was not
yeah.
surprisingly thought
The main
Picard did it.
cast acted like next gen. The guest cast acted
Yeah,
like TOS. That's a good
yeah,
observation, John.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
they
right.
really did. And I guess maybe again, it doesn't hurt that you have the guy who played the Klingon. So again, that's Michael Pataki as Karnas, who previously portrayed the Klingon Korax in the original Star Trek series episode "The
He,
Trouble with
yeah,
Tribbles."
he's the same guy that goes, I meant to say the Enterprise should be hauled away as
As
garbage. I
garbage.
can picture his face. I
Yeah.
never connected the two. That makes me like it a little bit more.
And now, when he's giving his big speech at the end, he's got his time to chew the scenery. You can't unhear it.
Why not make it a Klingon story? You got the actor right there. Make it the same Klingon. But they're trying to avoid TOS, but that might have made it better.
I think it was called Klingons in The
Klingons.
Trouble with Tribbles.
Klingoni.
Half the
Yeah.
Well,
quadrant would
they
be
only had
speaking Klingoni.
they only had the one makeup chair. They use it all on the admiral.
the the age difference between the actors for Mark and Anne, Clayton and Marcia, it made me feel awkward in parts, like where he was like
Yeah,
kissing an old lady and
and
like grabbing her
he was
butt and stuff.
actively trying to push him off of her.
Yeah, and
That
it
was
made it seemed like it made her uncomfortable too.
yeah.
Oh, you know, the youth,
Like you
That's
haven't
another
touched me in years.
the youth makes you way horny. He couldn't touch her. He couldn't move.
He was getting horny. He was
I feel
getting
like that was
horny.
I feel like that was another aspect of the story that could have because like she was like she didn't say that she was repulsed or like it was like but like clearly he was more like physically aggressive and she was not feeling it.
She was
So
into it for a couple seconds, but
well the like when he was like at his first stage of de-aging
yeah.
when he could get up and like walk he's like oh okay look at you Mr. Hot Stuff.
Hmm.
But after that it's like no it's like I believe the 40s term was he was like a masher.
Listen, Linda says there was a part in the episode where Jameson was identified by a scar, but wouldn't the scar have healed when he
Yes,
de-aged?
I
Absolutely.
I thought that too. I
A
was like,
hundred
of all the
percent.
things you could have had be, you could have given him a tattoo. You could have made it a tattoo. A tattoo would heal over, but you would still see a tattoo.
Yeah,
A
it's
scar
still
didn't make any sense at all. His whole body is
healed.
repairing itself. Why
Yeah.
would a scar not repair itself? I agree
You,
with you. That was dumb.
I think it could be too like
We're listening, Linda, and we agree with you.
a miscommunication or just maybe bad execution or not enough pre-production meetings because like the old age makeup, I'd say halfway through the episode, if they started with that, I think it would have been fine and were more gradual. But they had like these four big age different points they had to make, so they had to start way too exaggerated. And I think
Yeah.
that's what ruined it. Because halfway through, he starts looking good, like old makeup, but he looks like a real human being. He doesn't look like a melted pile of clay.
Well, you know what? Maybe that was the disease. That's probably what the disease does.
Could
Christmas
be.
disease is pretty tough.
It turns your face into putty.
Yeah, maybe
Uh,
I'm just not seeing his illness and just assuming it's age, but maybe something else.
Could be.
Maybe that's why they threw that in there because the makeup was made, the chair was made, and they're like, he's got something.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, the scar thing was like, I was like, this episode is almost over. That's how you're going to resolve it with the scar? With the scar.
I,
Like,
But
he literally could have done anything. He's
and
like,
he
"Oh,
looks like the guy he knew back then, right?
he should.
that's the other thing. Is like this guy saw him 40 years ago.
Right.
You think he would recognize him immediately and say, "How do you look this young
Why don't you
still?
look
Not
at
not
yes.
who are you?"
It
makes
doesn't make
no
sense.
It makes no
No.
sense.
It made sense if he was 14, so maybe they just didn't fix the whole thing. They didn't give it a read through after they made
I
changes.
really thought he was going to be like a kid.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, no, no, he wouldn't recognize a kid version, but he would recognize a young man version. Like if you showed a picture of me, well, not 40 years ago, but like 10 years from now, me, and 40 years before that, me, it looks like the same. Like I'm still a man. I look like the same guy,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
this is a
have a
trick.
younger picture of you that I hung up in my locker at school. The omnipotent Willard says, I'm using the wrong logic. My thought was that it depended on how old he was when he got the scar.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Well, no, because he would have gotten it. He must have had it because they got it at the thing at the negotiation thing. That was their bond.
And I don't think it's like some kind of temporal medicine that takes him back in time. I think it's something that just heals the damaged cells of the body. That's
Yeah,
how I read it.
because that's what Crusher said was killing him, was that his body was like on overdrive, like in repair mode, and like his body couldn't keep up with it.
You said Crusher. That's one thing I liked about the episode. The little Crusher Picard interaction. I mean, they were playful,
It
like
was a
they
little
were
too
getting
much.
closer, but Beverly was still calling him sir, and it was almost in like a role play thing, and I was getting into it.
Of course you were.
Of course I was.
A role
In
play. All
Albie's
right, you be the
defense, in
captain,
Albie's
I'll be the
defense,
doctor. It was not a
right.
role play. That's their
Yeah,
job.
But
That's just
we
who
have
they are.
not been able to watch TNG in I would say several weeks,
Yeah.
and he's been missing his Beverly hit. So
Yeah.
he's just he's right now he's mainlining anything that he can get with Gates on screen. That's
Beverly
all.
Gates, my main life, whole
You
life
know what?
crush.
I will also say this. I liked at the beginning when the admiral's talking. He's old admiral,
Hmm.
and he's on the bridge, and Troy's looking over at him, and it seems like she's reading him, and it
Yeah.
seems like she's telling that he's deceptive. And when she gives, he's like, I think he's being honest, but he's clearly holding something back.
Hmm.
What she said could have applied to both of them, and she was staring at him. She wasn't staring at the general guy. She was staring at
Mhm.
the admiral, and I was like, okay, that's cool the way they did that. But it's not like, but they didn't show a scene where she followed up and went to tell Picard, I think your guy's lying about something, and so I'm either giving them more credit or less credit, for either like leaving the clues there for me to figure out that's what she was doing. But if she did do that, why wouldn't she tell Picard? I think that's what
Right.
he's doing,
I
or
think
there's
Marina was
something
definitely
bizarre.
playing that, right?
Yeah, I
They're
think
just
yeah,
doing it with looks instead of dialogue.
yeah. I liked that. I liked the way she played that.
But
Um,
again, it was just like a thread that they just left dangling. They didn't give
Yes,
Deanna any resolution either. So
very
because
true.
I thought it was going somewhere like that too. At first, I thought that Picard was just going to ignore everything Beverly was saying because it sure looked like that in that first scene.
She gave him that look. He was like, "Okay, I'm sorry. I
I
do
have
value your opinion. Come on the bridge. It's cool. You're cool."
I have a theory that the Picard and Beverly scene was post-coital because that's how they were acting. And like when this came up, this is my feeling. When like the situation came up, Picard didn't want to like separate from her just yet, so he figured out a way to have her on the bridge. Like, come with me to the bridge. I don't know.
See, I certainly wasn't reading anything postcoital, but I was thinking that maybe, like, he was attracted and he knew that that was not okay. So he was hesitant to have her on the bridge. But he was like, actually, you know what? No, we're professionals. Come on the bridge, monitor him. Oh, okay. Since we're
Okay.
dumping on this episode, here's another one.
It makes sense in the story because she had to be there when he started freaking out again.
Yeah, that was fine. But a couple of scenes later, she's like, yeah, he's clearly getting younger. I don't know what's going on. I can't explain it. And Picard's like, okay, I want you to figure it out. Keep working on this. Tell me what you come up with. And then the next scene, he goes and he just asks him. I'm like, why wouldn't she come with you if you're going to ask him?
Yeah.
Why you like spend all your time trying to figure this out? Meanwhile, I'm gonna do a thing. Hey, what's up with the de aging?
Uh,
Why wouldn't you just come with him?
I would love it if Troy and Beverly were both like, "Sir, he's wearing old age makeup, and we don't know why." The omnipotent Willard is going to the Delta Quadrant and taking an archaeology professor with him. So he's going to cut it short tonight. Thank you, the omnipotent Willard, for joining us, and thank you so much for joining us at the Q level lifetime membership. If anybody else wants to get in on that, message us for details. Thank you, Willard.
Thank you, Willard.
Thank you, Willard.
Have a
Pleasure
good
as
night.
always. So
We'll continue on without you.
Yes.
Anywho,
Yeah. What was there any? Did anybody see any bright spots? What was there things that you're like, oh yeah, I like that. This is good.
I honestly, you guys just mentioned anytime any of the female cast except for Yar was on screen, it kind of popped, and then that one scene between Anne and Beverly and the other one, Deanna,
Deanna.
you know, and the one that's not Anne or Beverly but not Yar. I liked. And I remember liking that scene too the first time I saw this episode. This was, again, one of the few in Next Gen that I had never seen before. So I think I knew of it, but I'd never even seen a scene of it. So anytime that you had Beverly talking to Jean-Luc, I thought that those were bright spots because Gates is the only one that made this blankety script work in any kind of realistic way. And then the scenes between Picard and Beverly were good, but I also just liked the scenes, that central scene, which was just filler,
Yeah.
of how could he do this? And when she says to him, you just thought it would be right for you, so therefore you assumed that it would be right for everybody. I used to be that husband. It took me a long time to learn to not be that kind of husband. And I'm a better man for it, but I sure get where she's coming from because I used to be that guy.
You know what? I think that would actually be probably my favorite scene in the show was when he shows up young and she confronts him. That's probably my favorite scene in the whole episode.
I did enjoy the girl talk scene where the three ladies were together, but it because you don't see it often. Like you said, it might be the first time in Next Gen, and maybe in Star Trek. But it just reminded me of the time because it didn't pass the Bechdel test, I think it's called.
Bechdel.
Yeah, because they're just sitting there talking about their men. So
I guess I'm thinking
What?
of one episode where we did see the female crew get together and save the day was an animated series episode.
oh yeah, the Ariel signal, the something
Yeah,
signal.
yeah, it was basically the siren
L'Oreal,
song.
the L'Oreal signal,
Yeah,
because I'm worth it.
Lorelei, the
Lorelei signal because of Gilmore Girls.
Right, exactly. It was the Lorelei signal, and I believe Chapel and Uhura saved the day on that one because the guys are just so horny. They're just all horned out. they dumb, they horny.
Yeah, it was. Before we do final thoughts and wrap up on this too long an episode, what else do we have to do here, Chris?
All right, let me get back to the rundown. Episode. Well, I think we kind of did favorite part and episode crush.
Kinda.
Right.
Beverly.
Anne
Troy.
is probably
I
my
like
favorite part of
Troy.
the episode. How
Troy-
about you,
Troy
John?
on the
Say
bridge.
again, Chris.
I said Anne is probably my favorite part of the episode.
She was good looking for an old lady.
Not the crush. I mean the best part of the episode.
Oh, okay,
She's,
yeah.
She's a fine looking woman, but everything with you comes down to she's pretty.
I've been alone for 9 years. When I put gas in my tank, I get turned on.
This is why I drink on mic, people.
Check exploration. You settle on check exploration. You want to call it Albie gets canceled.
I can admire a beautiful person.
So what's the 47? Or John, did you get an episode crush? I don't believe you've never participated in this part of the show. So who's your episode crush? This is where you can be a little prurient if you'd like.
No, I'm good.
No crush?
Well, I mean, I think like I said, I liked I liked the way that Troy played that scene on the bridge, that initial scene, and I guess if you want to say that Anne is my crush because of the confrontation in their quarters, because that was my favorite scene. So
Cool.
Anne was totally right. They should have talked
It
about
was-
it first.
It was a well written scene. I thought.
Yeah. And like
Maybe
you
that
said,
was DC's touch.
and it could be, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's, guys
I'm going to
can
give her credit for anything that was
can
good
have
about this episode.
a tendency to think that they're logical and right, therefore people think like they do. And no.
And here's the thing, you know that it was crap. Because like he's like and it might not have been initially. Like I do believe like he had like it was kind of selfish intentions, but he was thinking of her as well. Okay, but then you wouldn't have drank them both. like
Both of
like if
them.
like if you were if that was if like I was because he said like yeah I drank them both. I was thinking of you. That no, those two things don't go together. Like clearly, either you were thinking of me and you had saved some, or you weren't and you didn't.
Yeah, that works with everything. Like I was thinking of you. I ate both pizzas. I drank both bottles of wine. No, you weren't thinking of me.
It's actually Cerebus too. Their youth serums like Doritos. Hammer them all you want. We'll make more.
We do have
Well,
a
you know what? See,
episode
that-
crush from Listen Linda. She says, "My episode
Ooh.
crush is young Jameson, hottie."
Hottie.
That's fair.
He was dreamy, smoldering.
They should have gotten the formula from Cerebus 3. Everybody knows that like oh I'm thinking
better.
Cerberus. My bad.
Is there a 47? I don't believe there is a 47.
I didn't see one. I didn't look. I was exhausted. And
All right. So you know what? It's trivia
What, can
time.
we say it was well no, they said it was 44 years. They could have made
44.
45 years, I believe.
might have been in there somewhere. Don't know.
There was a number reference that I wrote down on my pad, which I left downstairs, which is not worth going downstairs to
Okay.
get. So.
I will say Clayton Rohner that played Mark Jameson. I didn't like his performance as 200-year-old Admiral Jameson, but as he got younger, I thought his performance got better.
His acting muscles reformed.
He just seemed more like a person and less like a caricature.
Well, I mean, as much of a person as a Badmiral can be on Star Trek.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Is this TNG's first Badmiral? It might be.
Maybe.
Is he a bad boy? I guess he is.
Yeah, he's trying to lead them into rescuing hostages. It's a trap. It was a trap.
It's a trap.
All right.
Picard's like, maybe we shouldn't do this. And he's like,
okay,
screw
see,
you, Picard. We're going to
I-
do it.
I don't know. I thought bad role meant like kind of evil or corrupt, not just bad at your job. Bad role's just
Oh,
bad.
no. I mean, there's a long history of just admirals coming on to, or attaches or commodores coming onto the bridge of a starship and being total dicks. And
Yeah.
he picked up that standard and
Okay.
he carried it forward
All
into
right,
the
well,
next
yeah,
generation.
that's fair. That's
I
fair.
didn't care for the character at all. Like I had no sympathy for him when he died. I was just like, eh.
Same. Well, because it was like literally it was all his fault.
Yeah.
Everything that happened in the past,
That's true.
all the problems in the past and all the problems in the present were all of his fault.
Maybe
it
that
all
was
him.
the message, moral, or meaning. Karma, bitches. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Anyway.
All right, trivia. It's trivia time, and
Yeah,
I
but
believe Chris
wanna-
has some questions.
Yes, we can do this. I wanted to point out Willard's last comment before he left was
Okay.
I made another
The omnipotent Willard.
the omnipotent Willard.
Yes.
I made one more continuum joke, and he says, if you can put this on the screen, he says, "I forgot to laugh at that joke the first time, John. Oops, forgot to laugh again. LOL." Well deserved. Like I couldn't not put that on this one.
There are going
Very
to
good.
be a lot of
Everyone
Q
has
jokes coming up in support of our own omnipotent being.
So I think that we should turn the tables on the game Quizmaster.
Yes.
And,
Captain
we
Game
should-
Show himself.
We should read him the 3 questions.
We got you for 3 questions.
That's totally fine. I got the 3 the last one I listened to.
Woo!
was
The
like-
ones I missed.
Yeah, so which means I'm probably not gonna get these.
You're not going to get these. I don't think I'm going to get these.
All right.
Okay, first one. Klingon survivors of what massacre were taken to a Romulan prison camp in the Karaya sector?
The Fall of Kittimer.
I think so, yes. I agree.
I say it's the Kittimer massacre. So
Yeah.
you got it. You got Kittimer.
Hey!
Can you
All
name
right,
the episode
okay.
for a bonus point?
You kidding me? No.
I think I can.
What is it?
Part 1. Yes?
Part 1? No, that's not it.
Something part 1.
No, there's no part 1 in it.
Ununification.
Okay, what is it?
The birthright.
Birthright part 1 and 2. Yeah.
It just says the birthright.
Okay, yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, part 1 and 2. It was a good
Alrighty.
one. Very good one.
In the motion picture The Undiscovered Country, what unique property does General Chang's bird of prey possess?
I mean, it can cloak. That's the first one that can cloak, right?
Is that a unique property though?
No, it's a unique property. They could cloak since way back when.
What unique?
Cloaking is part of it, though. I'm going to give you a hint.
It can warp while cloaked.
It can
sorry.
fire
It can
while cloaked.
while cloaked.
Albie got it. It can fire while cloaked.
I was getting there, Albie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so
I want
sorry.
credit. I feel
Yeah,
like
we'll give John credit for that one.
I
I broke
like,
the rules.
Oh, good day, sir.
in
You
as much
lose.
as I can get to keep guessing until I get it right. Like,
My buzzer wasn't working.
You
My
wouldn't have put
buzzer
up with
wasn't
that on
working.
Captain Game Show, I can't answer 5 times until I maybe get it right.
you get the answer a couple times.
My buzzer wasn't working.
But I will do this. Like you said, like if you're kind of close to it, I'll give you another chance to kind of clarify.
All right. I mean, you were circling in on it.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Much
He
like
would have got
Aurora
there. I
Farm
just
TV,
jumped the gun.
a tailpipe. And
Yes, you beat me to it.
so, Albie, I'm sorry that your buzzer wasn't working.
It's not working.
You got to fix that space station.
Okay.
All right. Oh, you probably all know this, John. Who wrote the novel I Am Legend, the screenplay The Incredible Shrinking Man, and the original series episode The Enemy Within?
Not gonna get political. I. You know what? Is it Twilight Zone Serling?
No, not Rod Serling.
I have a guess.
Who was it, Albie?
Asimov?
Nope.
Is it
Okay.
DC Fontana?
Who wrote
not.
iRobot?
That's Asimov.
Oh yeah. Oh, what did you say?
I Am
Who wrote-
Legend.
Oh, I Am Legend.
I Am
Oh
Legend.
wait, is it like?
I Am
it's-
Legend.
It's like one of the popular. It's like James Patterson or like Crichton. Is it Crichton?
No, actually, you're closer with Patterson because it kind of rhymes.
Matterson.
Richard Matherson.
Oh, that's close. I'd never heard of the guy.
Me either.
Richard Matheson.
Good
Richard
movie
Matheson.
though.
The
I like the
writing
Will
is
Smith one.
Complete.
I haven't seen the original yet. What was that? Charlton Heston or something?
Yeah, I read.
Man.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, Omega Man. I Am Legend.
Richard Matheson also wrote What Dreams May Come. I guess it was.
Oh, I love that
Robin
one.
movies. Robin Williams.
Yeah, I
movies.
love that one.
I like that movie. Yeah.
So yeah, he's very prolific. And I read I Am Legend, and I just didn't like it.
Is there a dog in the book or just the movie?
I don't even. No, the movie is completely
Oh, okay.
its own thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they even called it I Am Legend. Or I guess because it's more like a zombie outbreak, not a vampire outbreak.
Was it
Charlton
vampires?
Heston, the Charlton Heston version is a little bit more accurate to the book.
Take your stinking paws off me, you. It's people.
That's right. That's right. You got it. So we got Trek and Tell time. Who's got the Trek,
Trek and tell. I got one. You guys got one? Who's got one?
Oh,
I
what
got
did
a
John
thing.
get? By the way, he got
What did
1
he
out
get?
of 3. So John,
No, he got 3 out of 3. 2 out of 3. I stole it from him, but my buzzer wasn't working, so it didn't count. It was one of those things where I'm sorry, sir. Nope. So you go to the next player, and then John got it. He got 2.
okay. Okay.
You know what? House rules. I'll let you guys decide how many I got. So here's my.
You got 1.5 out of 3.
I'll give him 2.
Can you see this? All right.
Bring it up just a little bit. Oh,
I crush your head.
Crush your head.
I crush your head. As you
that's
wish, Flathead.
awesome.
Signed by
Aw,
Will Wheaton. Because
Yeah,
it's
so
Wesley
cool.
Crusher.
that is awesome. I don't have one of those. That's cool. I got a
Hey.
photo
That's your
with
Trek
him.
and Tell? That's
That's
amazing.
that's my Trek and Tell.
That's a good one.
This is from maybe 3 years ago. The big local con up in these parts is Awesome Con, and Will Wheaton was going to be there. So like the night before, I was like, okay, I'm going to give him something original to sign, something he hadn't seen before. So I made that. I'm a graphic artist, so I did the thing, and so I went up and I like, hey, how you doing? He's like, oh, that's awesome. He took a picture on his phone. I was hoping to see it like on Instagram. I don't think he ever posted it, but he did appreciate it.
That's
And I
awesome.
didn't tell him what to write, so I was like, I was like, write whatever you want. So of course he wrote, as you wish, Flathead, because he like Awesome Con is awesome.
That's awesome. And you're wearing a Star Trek shirt too,
I'm wearing
underneath all
Star
that
Trek shirt.
sweater.
Did you see
Yes, he flashes us again. Perfect.
Yeah.
We got to get the views.
Blue,
We got to get
blue
the
is
views
medical,
down.
right? Blue is medical.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah, sciences.
Science, right?
So I got a package
Ayo.
from Hallmark.com.
Heard that.
Hallmark.
Hallmark.com. Is it that time of year again?
It's getting there.
Da,
It's
da, da.
beginning to look a lot like the holidays.
Do I get a bonus point if I guess what it is?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's give John a bonus point if he can see inside this box and tell me what it is.
I'm going to say that it is a Christmas ornament,
Yes.
and it is.
It's from 2024 because I got it from their website.
I was like, is it a ship? Is it a person? Is it a ship? Is it a person? I'm gonna say that it is the Cerritos.
No.
I'm going
Do you
to
have any guess,
say-
Chris?
I'm going to say that it's Boems.
Oh no.
Is it somebody on a transporter pad and it lights up?
I don't know what the person is on.
I used to go to the store and look at these every year, and I haven't probably since the pandemic. So I don't know.
I'll let you in on a little secret. Not that my tree is covered with Star Trek ornaments because obviously, right? But I always buy my Star Trek ornaments like on eBay. January, February, March, when people are packing them away, getting rid of them, don't want them anymore. I get them like $5.
Yeah,
these $30 ones. This is the first Star Trek Hallmark ornament I've ever paid full price for ever in my life.
Wow. So it's
So
got to be Beverly Crusher.
Definitely a woman.
It's Beverly Crusher in Princess Leia's dress from A New Hope.
Chris got a point.
Is it Crusher?
It's got to be.
Nice.
Does it come with a candle?
Do not light the candle.
Is she holding the candle?
I don't know.
So I had this. So if you guys want a money making business venture opportunity, small investment.
24.
I had this idea, like basically LED lights for your Christmas tree, and they've got like a program or whatever, and they go from top to bottom, and you push the button and it makes the transporter sound, and it does like transporter lights, and then
Ooh, I love it.
it comes into reality. So as like from the bottom up, it does the. It does,
That's totally
and from the
possible.
bottom up, like the Christmas tree lights actually come on.
That is totally possible.
It is.
Up until now, my favorite ornament I have, it might be Archer, might be T'Pol, might be Janeway. I don't know.
I always
But now-
liked Kirk in his chair, and I always liked Cisco with his baseball.
I got both of those. Oh, wow. Oh,
that-
I have a
is that
7 of
like-
9, too. But like I said, I pay $5 for them normally.
Is that like ceramic? Or is it plastic?
It
Plastic.
feels plasticky.
Yeah. Oh, she got a tricorder. There we go.
Medical
It's like
tricorder.
season 7.
I like
Beverly.
the action pose. She's walking towards you. She's stepping up.
Yeah. Probably walking towards Picard in that ornament where he's in the corridor.
Stepping up.
She's like, if there's not something wrong with me, maybe there's something wrong with this Christmas tree. So I saw it, and then Hallmark had a deal like you buy two, you get 10% off or something like that. And I was going to do it, but I was looking through the other things, and I think there were just ships this year. So I was like, I'll go back later and look. But then Gates posted it on her Instagram or something, a little video of her holding it and saying it's available. And I was like, oh, I got to get it now so I don't forget again.
That's
so then I
awesome.
just went to get it. So yay!
Yay.
That's my Trek and Tell.
Wow.
Very nice.
Now you're gonna. Yeah, I have a whole bin of them upstairs that I haven't even looked at in years. Full disclosure, we don't really put up a tree anymore because it's just too much. We both work too much. So what I do is I get like a teeny little tree from the nursery and we put it on the coffee table in the living room. So I haven't dragged down any of my Christmas stuff in years. But
You have Star Trek ones?
Oh, I
How
got
many?
tons of them. It used to look like Christmas threw up in my house. I love Christmas. Like
I'm the
it was
same way.
crazy. It got to the point where I had so many Star Trek ornaments, I had to pick and choose which ones I was going to put out because I just didn't have enough room anymore.
I have an
So-
idea. You got shelves behind you. I say just add one an episode,
These
and you got
shelves
Trek and
weren't here
Tales
when I got
until
them. That's for
February,
sure.
March.
These are all new shelves.
Yep. You got Trek and Tales till March if you pull those out.
There we go. There we go. Anyway, so
Woo!
nice one, guys. You guys both had terrific ones. I,
Awesome.
as usual, don't have a damn thing. So I will put us all on the path to Stovacor by asking you what
Feklar.
you finally rate this episode. Final thoughts and ratings out of 5. So
John Irons.
start with John Irons.
Final thoughts and ratings out of 5. Remember to come up with wacky objects that hopefully are from the Star Trek universe and more hopefully from this episode.
Yeah. Come on. Have you met me? I wouldn't. There's no way I would not do that.
All right.
Actually, I guess technically you haven't met me. I would. I'd started off higher, and then we talked about it. And so I'm gonna. I think I started off at like a 3 out of 5. I'm gonna drop it a little bit more. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5 because there were things that I liked about it, and there were like things that started off like you could see like where it could have gone better. And I'm really just giving a pass on the makeup. No, it was terrible.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it 2.5 alien cocktails out of 5.
We'll take it.
Alrighty.
Chris.
Final thoughts. Had potential here, there, and everywhere. Failed to live up to any of it. It just seemed to be a slapdash filler episode that they needed to get out, and they brought Dorothy in to fix it, and she did what she could. I know that it was a disappointment for most of the people who were involved in it, especially the director who had some high hopes. So, given the respect that I have for the talented people of Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation and the bum rap that season 1 gets, I'll give it not 1, but 1.5. 1.5.
Wow.
1.5 imaginary lozenges out of 5. And you, Albie Burge.
I dislike this episode strongly. Not as much as I dislike some discos, but I think it's a stain on all of Next Gen. If I could delete one episode, it would be this one.
Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Now that we talked about it, there's a couple things I like. Now that you've informed me that it's the same actor from Trouble with Tribbles, I'll give that half a point. And then the Beverly and Picard scene, I'll give it another half point. So I'm going to give it 1. $10,000 wheelchairs.
That's all I had, so it's a perfect match.
Yeah. I don't know the story about it. I think I saw on the documentary on the Blu-ray, but that was when they first came out years back. So I'll have to watch that again.
Hilarious.
I did not enjoy it. We got a comment from Listen Linda, Cadet Listen Linda. She said, I have only one Star Trek ornament, the Enterprise. But which one? NX-01? 1701? 1701A? No bloody A, B, C, or D?
I'll say if you've only got one Star Trek ornament, the Enterprise is probably the one you should have.
That's what you should have.
I do want the Voyager one, but I don't have it. But I got 7 in Janeway, but I need the actual Voyager ship.
Well, if you would like to tell us out there what your Star Trek ornament collection looks like, I'm going to sneeze. Wait, let's see if I can hold it. Did it.
Yay.
You can go to our Patreon site. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. There you will find our hub of activity, and you can also find out how you can support the show for different levels and for different bonus content. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. Get us on the Instas at TrexplorationPod. Get us on the X's at Trexploration. Email us, trexplorationpod@gmail.com. You can get us on the blower, 707-847-6682. You can P.O. Box us at P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. You can buy us a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Trexploration for any kind of one-time gift that you might want to give us. And you can watch us here on the YouTube, youtube.com/@Trexploration. You can always comment down below in the comments section here on YouTube.
Below.
Below. Ooh, I know that we didn't take any calls tonight, but I literally have to get up in 4 hours. So,
All right. So what's next? Next gen. Next time we do next gen is When the Bow Breaks.
When the Bell Breaks, Season 1, Episode 7, When the Bell Breaks. That's next for our TNG recaps. But before we do that, we will be recapping the next episode of Lower Decks, and that is Starbase 80.
80. Dun dun
80?
dun.
Oh, that's cool.
So, John, why don't you tell everybody out there who's watching or listening where they can find you and all your great stuff?
You can find me on various shows on the Infinite Potato Podcast Network, but my show is Captain Game Show. It is a trivia wordplay podcast. I I have yet to have Albie on, but I promise I will. And Chris is on all the time, so yeah.
I know.
As a matter of fact,
And Chris has never like messaged me and said,
Yeah.
"Wow."
The Hidden Game is a season-long game that I
you
do.
see what John calls me there? You
every
see what John
year.
calls me there?
You brilliant bastard.
That's me.
You
And
are
my
brilliant.
name's right underneath it.
Sorry,
Probably the
Albie.
smartest person I know in real life, Christopher D. Philippus.
Speaking of Chris,
Speaking of Chris,
I have
Chris
this,
never texts me and says, "I'm going on Captain Game Show. You want to come on with me?"
It's not my prerogative. It's not my show.
It wouldn't work anyway, even if he did. But I promise I will have you on soon.
Just ask some dumb questions. I'll get them.
Actually, I have just
actually.
started a new podcast because I had an idea for it last week. Chris is on that also. Multiversality test. I had this idea where I would like go online and find like little online tests, like which Golden Girl are you, which TNG character are you, which this are you, which that are you, which this are you, which that are you. I was trying to do that tonight. Actually, be like a nice little crossover. So I'll also have you on that one, LB.
Yay, you
I'll-
heard
I'll-
it.
Yes, I'll whip up a nice 3 or 4 tests for you to take. I want you a multiversality test. I don't know where it's all available yet. I know it's on Spotify, but I don't know if it's distributed yet.
I think I'm a combination of all the Golden Girls. I think that's the good thing about the show. There's different parts of
is a good thing
personalities that
about the
become
show.
one organism.
So like whoever else is going to be on the show, who do you think that they would get? Who do you think that you would get? Then take the test, and we'll talk about who you got.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was revealing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The game that we played.
Yeah, well, I
And,
understand, John, because I've never had you on any of my
agree with
shows.
you that we agree with you that Chris is very smart. That everyone said so when they
He's
were picking who
brilliant.
he would be.
He says
Okay.
words I got to look up later.
Anyway,
So I think
you
that's it.
guys are too kind. Yeah, I think that's it. And
All
you can
right.
find all that stuff on the Infinite Potato Alliance as well. Go there, and I think it's infinitepotatoalliance.com. I'm not sure if it's still active, but anyway.
I don't think so.
Special
Uh,
shout
well,
out again to the
shouting out.
omnipotent Willard.
To the
Thank you so
omnipotent
much.
Willard. Thank you,
Keeping us
Willard.
going. Shout out to Morgan for helping us with the server.
Yeah, thank you, Morgan. Morgan, the inventor of the handling prop that's right here
Yep.
over my shoulder.
He
So,
is getting us there, so I'm excited. So for Trek Exploration, I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
I'm John.
Thank you so much, John, for being on Trek Exploration, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
And then we do this thing for like a minute where I tell my beautiful daughter that I love her, and then we hold up our stuff. Month of
Classic
Matt.
ad.
Remember, it's the month of Matt.
Good stuff, baby.
And look, I got a really cool bookmark.
So I really should I just have this like it's in like a Manila folder. Like I have it protected, but
You're a manila folder.
I haven't framed it. I need to like frame it and like yeah. This room is very bare of any ornament. The living room, literally, the living room has stuff in it. The kids' room has stuff up in it, but my room, this bedroom, is just like. I mean, part of it's probably still in denial. Like, if I do actually happen to get a woman into this bedroom,
Wait,
she
you
can't
know
see
we're
a
still
bunch
live,
of
right?
nerdy shit. What?
We're
Really?
still live.
We're recording video for credits, but we're live.
That's fine.
9 years.
Ladies, that's an
Ladies?
invitation, ladies.
Yeah, the beautiful John Irons should not be signaled. Me, I understand. Look at me, I'm a fool.
I can get
What
you
is,
in
it,
touch
what is with
John
the
Irons.
beautiful John Irons, by the way? Like,
You're
like,
gorgeous. I like women, but you're undeniably beautiful. It's not like an opinion. It's just fact.
All right. Well,
You look at you and you go, "Wow."
Yeah, the cringe will soon go away, John. You'll
All right, for everybody watching live on the streams, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us and
guys and
participating.
gals,
Thank
and-
you, everyone.
I
We're
didn't know
gonna
we were still
go,
live.
and we'll be back soon with Lower Decks, Starbase 80. I'm gonna watch
Starbase
it in.
80?
I can probably
An
watch it
hour.
right now, right?
Yeah, we're gonna watch it. Me and John are gonna watch it right now. We'll be right back.
I'll fall asleep watching it, but it still counts.
All right, we're good. Make sure everybody's uploaded. Let's see.